Bichara Supply Chain, highlighting and showcasing solutions for the most complex challenges facing the industry in 21st century by our team of subject matter experts and mentors. Broadcasting every week, all year round, we will present the most up-to-date series of podcasts and webinars.
Hello and welcome to another episode Bichara Supply Chain, the podcast. This is Nur Hadi, your host. And I'm now with Naveen Kolathur. He is the head of Lead Logistic Partner Services of Asia Pacific for DHL Global Forwarding. And he is based in Singapore. Thank you so much, Naveen, and welcome to Bichara Supply Chain.
Thank you, Nur Hadi. Appreciate the invitation to be part of your program. Glad to be here and share my experience and views in the industry.
Perfect. So before we get in, can you please brief a bit about yourself, your professional background, and what do you do?
Good question and fairly straightforward. I'm a lifelong student of supply chain. I'm extremely passionate about supply chain. I have been in this industry for a little over 18, 19 years, right? Handle various aspects of supply chain from IT to operations and everything in between. Currently, I work for DHL Global Forwarding, as you said, and I'm responsible for their lead logistics services for Asia Pacific. For some of you who don't know lead logistics, it's our 4PL services within DHL Global Forwarding. And in a nutshell, I'm a student, I'm a learner, and I have been doing so for last several years and continue to do so with the changes.
Yeah, long life learner. Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Naveen, since you have been spent many years in logistic industry, how do you see a current trends of the logistic industry itself, and what would be going of major change or transformation for next 5 to 10 years from now?
The current trends, I think, there are several experiments being done, right? As we speak, there are a lot of discussions, on blockchain, for example, the Internet of Things, automation, robotics, including drones, unmanned vehicles, a lot of discussion around digitization. So I think there is, several topics that are currently being explored, right? And as you can see, these topics are widely discussed, heavily invested and investigated, right, by the large companies in the industry and several of the consulting organizations, right? So there's a lot of investments. But that said, the current, experimentation, I believe in the next 4 to 5 years should start yielding results, right? I think that's very important. So I think one of the major transformations in the next 5 to 10 years that I see would be one in the area of robotics and automation, right? So you already see a lot of robotics and robots and automations in the warehousing space particularly, and I think that will continue to grow. And there will be a lot of exciting things happening in that space. I think that's an interesting area to watch out for sure. I think number two, I think there will be a lot more customer centricity. I think because over the years there has been too much focus on the shipper side, if you will, right? Logistics is heavily focused on the shipper side. I think moving forward for the next 5 to 10 years, I see that there will be a lot more focus on the customer and the last mile. I think that shift has already started, and I think we will see more and more of that happening.
Yeah.
The third interesting area I see in the next 5 to 10 years would be data and analytics, right? With the Internet of Things and connected devices and all these things, I think the supply chain visibility, supply chain resilience, risk management, I think that space will become normal. We will see less of spreadsheets and work. Last but not least, I think sustainability is not a new topic in the supply chain space, and I think we all are responsible for the environment. So I think there will be more and more demand coming from the customers in terms of sustainability, and the logistics companies will also be a lot more active in meeting their sustainability. I think these are the four broad areas I think would be a major focus for the next 5 years. Meanwhile, things like blockchain might not take off. I think it has been disappointing so far, and I don't see that becoming a major trend in the coming years.
Very interesting. And according to a recent survey conducted by Forbes Insights, they found that 65% of logistic and supply chain executives acknowledge the necessity to revamp existing models and add the flexibility to their current business model. So how do you see that report, Naveen?
Yeah, I think one of the things I expect, as I said, in the next 5 to 10 years is a lot more customer centricity. The current supply chain models or logistics executives have been focusing more on the shipping side, on the shipper side, right? Whether it is a factory or whether it's a warehouse, there is heavy processes and heavy investment in that space. So now, if they have to move to the customer side and become a lot more customer centric, it means a lot of mindset change, a lot of change in the tools, a lot of change in the investments they make. All these things will definitely be a challenge, and that's what they mean by existing models which are more shipper-centric to more customer-centric business model. So customer-centric by nature means flexibility. I mean, what do customers want, right? They expect a lot more flexibility in terms of how we service their business, and I think that's where definitely they will be going through a lot of changes. And it's not an easy change because the current model has existed for a long time, right? 25, 30 years. And now changing people's mindset and moving them towards customer centricity is certainly a challenge. So they will have to change IT systems. They will have to change business processes. They will have to change people's mindsets. I mean, it's a whole different world. But I think we as an industry are prepared for that. But you will see more and more, happening in that area for sure. So it's all about customer centricity and being flexible to meet the customer's needs.
Yeah. And then this is also very important questions. What do you think? By when and how the companies all consider for starting the digital transformation on the business model?
So I think digital transformation, it would be, it is on every executive's list, right? So I think it's fair to say that you can talk to any supply chain or business executive, and ask if this digital transformation is on their, list of things to do. Absolutely yes. But the difficult question to ask is, are they digital prepared? Are they prepared for the digital transformation, right? I think that's the challenge that every organization is going through as we speak. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is to have it on the agenda and get the consulting advice from the consulting companies, but it's a whole different thing to be prepared. So what do I mean by prepared? So preparing for a digital transformation means again change in their people policies. How do I preparing their organization towards this this entire transformation. Right now, the way most organizations work, they are not ready for digital transformation. Everybody thinks that it's just one big jump, but it is not, right? So they have to take step by step, and digital transformation will happen along the way, right? So when they're taking the steps, they will have to take into consideration what is the industry they are in, right? How much of digital transformation is happening in their customers' world? What kind of interactions, digital interactions that their customers are asking for, right? What kind of digital interactions are their employees asking? Their suppliers' preparedness. So they will have to look at all these things, to consider before they start the digital transformation journey. So yes, companies are considering digital transformation, and they should, rightly so, but they will have to invest a little more into their digital preparedness to get the organization ready for the transformation.
Yeah. And this is our last question today, more specific in Asia. Do you think the people, supply chain professional, including market itself, would be ready for next challenge on digital transformation?
Absolutely, yes. I'm an optimist on Asia, and the reason is when the mobile revolution started, right? It took a long time for North America and Europe to get into the bandwagon. Asia and Africa led the way, and the reason is because if you look at supply chains in Asia, they are still not up to the standard of what we would expect in what we would see in North America and Europe, right? So we are still a few steps behind. Yeah. What that means is we are able to take a leap directly into the new transformation, because we don't have the existing investments to think about, right? So we can invest and go straight to the digital age, and we have done that with the entire mobility space, and I'm pretty confident that we will be doing the same in the digital transformation. But of course, when we talk about Asia, there are different markets with different set of maturities, right? So the rest of the world sees us as Asia, but as Asia is not just Asia, right? So we have on one hand Japan, and on the other hand we have Sri Lanka and Pakistan, and it's a large continent with a mix of various capabilities. So each one is at a different level of maturity and preparedness for this digital transformation. But even so, as a region, I think we are definitely prepared, and the markets are definitely able to take that next step for sure.
Cool. It's perfect. Great to know that, because myself and you is part of Asia, so this would be very good sign for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, so it was really nice discussion today, Naveen. Thank you for your time. Wish best of luck to you. See you and goodbye.
Thank you, Nur Hadi. I appreciate the time and opportunity to talk to you and your listeners.
At Bichara Supply Chain, we are committed to driving global perspective to embrace technological adaptation in improving process efficiencies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Bichara Supply Chain. And stay tuned for the latest updates. To learn more, visit our website www.bicharasupplychain.com. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode.